Very good evening to all of you. Thanks for joining us here on the Urban Debate. I am Arfida Rahman Ali. It's day 4 of the rebellion led by Uddhav's own minister, Eknath Shinde. For the second time in 2 days, CM Uddhav made an emotional speech to his party workers in an attempt to ensure his flock stays together. Chief Minister has blamed the BJP for his party's rebellion, also going on to challenge the rebels to function without using Bala Sahib's name. The message is very clear. You may exit the party, but do not try to appropriate Bala Sahib's legacy. Amid all this political drama, NCP Chief and the architect of MVA, Sharad Pawar, met Uddhav Thackeray again today, showing undiminishing support. Mr. Pawar says his party firmly stands behind the Shiv Sena, while on the other hand, in an interesting development, Eknath Shinde today has made a U-turn on his previous statement. He says he does not have the support of any national party. This comes 24 hours after he was earlier heard tom-tomming about the support from a party that has even scared Pakistan. In the middle of all this, Maharashtra police, especially Mumbai police, has been asked to stay on high alert in the anticipation of large-scale protests by Shiv Sena workers who have taken to the streets. So a lot of hectic developments that have happened over the day. I'm going to bring in my colleague Ketan, who will bring us up to speed with all the developments on ground. Ketan, you've been on ground for hours on end now, tapping the sentiment of the people, talking to people as well. What do the common Shiv Sainik have to say today? Because now it has become a question of the entity of the party. Both sides are claiming to be the real Shiv Sena. What is the sentiment among the cadre witnessing all of this happening around them?
Is that for me, Afrida?
Yes, Ketan, go ahead.
Yeah. So, as you can see, it's raining, and it's raining not just rain, but it's raining slogans, it's raining solidarity, and it's raining the feeling of being Shiv Sainik. And so, as you can see here, I'll show you around. So there is this local restaurant near Matoshri, the residence of Uddhav Thackeray, and you can see Shiv Sainiks have queued up. A while ago, I showed you the Mahila Karyakartas who have come to express their solidarity. Here we are joined by more Shiv Sainiks here, and I would like to talk to a few of them. Sir, आप कहाँ से आए हैं?
हम मुलुंड से आए सर।
मुलुंड से आए हैं। और आज जो उद्धव साहब ने जो भावनिक आह्वान किया, बताया, एमएलएस को वापस आने को बताया, तो इस पे क्या आपका क्या रिएक्शन है?
उनको आना है तो आएंगे, कोई मजबूरी नहीं है। सरकार गिरेगी वापस बनेगी, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। हम सड़क से नए आमदार खड़े करेंगे, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। पक्ष ने उनको बहुत कुछ दिया है, और शिवसेना ये 4 नाम को पहचान नहीं पाए कुछ भी। पहली बात तो उनका आगे भविष्य क्या होएगा उनको खुद को मालूम है। इधर उधर घूमने से मतलब, जो शिवसेना के साथ जिसने गद्दारी किया है वो रोड पे आया है, वो घर का ना घाट का। ये मेरा एक शिंदे साहब से निवेदन है, आप थाना जिला के आगे के धर्मवीर है, आगे के पीढ़ी के धर्मवीर है। आपका कैरेक्टर अच्छा है, नाम अच्छा है, ये इन लोग के चुतिया लोग के।
तो आपको लगता है कि ये वापस इनको आना चाहिए?
आना चाहिए, जरूर आना चाहिए।
सुबह का गया शाम को आया, उसको भूला नहीं बोलते।
चलो, सुबह का भूला अगर शाम को वापस आता है तो उसको भूला नहीं बोलते। Afrida, that's the sentiment, and what they are trying to say is that the MLAs can come back, but what will stay strong is the party, and this is what cadre-based parties are all about. Afrida?
The Shiv Sena Legislative Party may have split, but the party is much more than that, and that is what something we are witnessing now. The party of Shiv Sainiks, the cadre, at least from what Ketan is showing us, a lot of them are backing Uddhav at this point. There's a huge amount of sentiment in favor of Uddhav, at least in Mumbai. Let me go across to Abhishek, joining us live from Guwahati. Abhishek, what is the sense in the rebel camp? The last we spoke to Mr. Kesarkar, what he is saying is that we have the numbers, but we want an assurance that we will be recognized as a separate unit, only then we will return. Is that the condition? What is preventing this rebel group from returning to Mumbai?
See, only one thing is preventing them is only the recognition by the Deputy Speaker as a separate group. And Deputy Speaker is yet to take a decision on the affidavit submitted by them, which certainly has around 37 signature, where they claim to be a separate group. And as Kesarkar clearly told that we will not, don't want to stake claim on the original Shiv Sena. We want our separate group to be recognized, one. And secondly, we are not, don't scare us. Because remember the bite of Sanjay Raut where he clearly said, come to Mumbai, we will see you. And you can see what's happening in Mumbai right now. Protests are happening. Offices are being vandalized. So it's something of that sort. And Kesarkar clearly told that there is democracy in the country. Everyone has their right to take their own decision. So this kind of an approach is not acceptable. And on the other hand, he lashed out at the Deputy Speaker, who clearly is biased towards Sena, where he is inclined to disqualify 16 of the MLAs, rebel MLAs, but not inclined to take their petition on record and recognize the separate group. So that's the reason they are planning other strategy and are likely to bring about a no confidence motion against the Deputy Speaker. And that's what is being decided in the Shinde camp currently, and they might be moving with that motion tomorrow.
So you are saying that
Back
the
to you.
rebel camp is not clear, we want to be completely assured that the decks are clear for them. They are not convinced at the moment because there isn't an official word on whether they can be recognized as a separate unit, which has broken away from the Shiv Sena. Shweta joining us from YB Chavan Center in Mumbai. Shweta, this time around, what has happened to the chief strategist of the MVA, Mr. Sharad Pawar? Many were hoping that perhaps this time again he would come up with some firefighting tactic to bring back the rebel group. What is the strategy this time?
Well, absolutely. All eyes are now on Sharad Pawar, that what new strategy can he come up with to save the Aghadi government. But till now, we are just seeing the series of meetings which is taking place, and also one advice what Supremo NCP Sharad Pawar has given to Uddhav Thackeray, stating that you have to be firm on your stand and let the opposition again in the Shiv Sena, let them do whatever they want to do. Ahead of this, we are also seeing the meeting which are being conducted, but very importantly, only one step which is quite stringent in nature what they have done is about the elimination of membership of at least 16 MLAs, those who are going to Shinde's camp. Now this is very important to note that the Deputy Speaker, Mr. Narihar, he was in Nashik, now he is in Mumbai, and all the drama will be revolving around this particular name of Deputy Speaker, as in the House it is very crucial whether the Deputy Speaker will eliminate their membership or not, or what kind of next strategy will be taken in the legal procedure. In the morning, we also saw a legal cell of Shiv Sena approach to the office of Deputy Speaker situated in Vidhan Bhavan, and we are seeing the other repercussions, how emotionally the way CM has approached the nation, the Maharashtra specifically. We are seeing everywhere there are protests being staged. Massive people are out on roads, specifically on Matoshri. The roads have been choked up with people. The emotions are brimming up, but at the same time, the Maharashtra awaits for one concrete plan apart from what is going on in Vidhan Bhavan.
Yes, and the statements that have come in are all very important, and I'm going to go across to my guests now. Thank you so much for joining us, Abhishek, Shweta and Ketan, for giving us the inputs from the ground. Let me introduce our guests this evening. Sandeep Ghosh, author; Tushar Gupta, Senior Editor, Swarajya; Abhishek Agnihotri will also join us, hopefully. He is the leader of the Shiv Sena; Gokul Chandran, political analyst, with us this evening. Very good evening to all of you. Thanks for joining us. Let me begin by actually talking about what the chief of the rebel camp had to say earlier. When he was asked about whether the BJP was backing his group, his initial response was, a day ahead, was that a big political party is supporting them. However, that has changed now. Now, Mr. Shinde says that we have the numbers, democracy is important, our side is strong, and we do not have any other parties backing. So clearly, There is shifting of loyalties. There are shifting of statements also happening here. Sandeep Ghosh, how are you looking at the developments? Is there a level of insecurity in the Eknath Shinde camp that they are not exactly sure if they come back, will they be able to retain the strength that they are so proudly claiming to have at this moment?
Come back, there will be definitely, new games will be played. Everybody will try to break the group. That is what it's all about. But this change of statement, I wouldn't read too much into it because we all know how things are happening. Before this, Sharad Pawar had said that this is entirely Shiv Sena's internal matter. I've got nothing to do with it. So had Congress. But now you see Sharad Pawar and the entire NCP clan going into Matoshri for consultations with Uddhav Thackeray. So those are, just posturing and things which are happening. See, essentially, BJP has nothing to lose in this whole gambit. It's very different from the time when they were trying to form the government after the elections. Now, worst case scenario, BJP will just bide its time out till the elections. That's about 2 years down the line. And then go for it, the polls, and in which, at that situation, if some of these rebels like Shinde have been thrown out of Shiv Sena, they'll probably help BJP muster more numbers. BJP in any case was trying to do that. And before that, you have the BMC elections, you have the Thane Municipality Corporation election where Shinde is a very strong force. So those will be other tests which will happen. So I don't think it's a question of, feeling insecure, etc. Both sides there is posturing. If you see what's happening on the Shiv Sena side, there is a lot of contradiction between everything they are saying. One hand, Uddhav Thackeray is saying, I'm willing to resign, I don't want power. Next thing she is saying that no, you cannot have Shiv Sena without Thackeray. If you go out, you are free to go, but don't try to come back. Sanjay Raut making other more aggressive and belligerent statement. Aditya Thackeray saying his own bit. So all that is happening is a hodgepodge. But as I look at it, Shiv Sena's primary concern is to retain, Shiv Sena, by that I mean the Thackerays, is to retain control of the party. They're right, governments will come and go, but he cannot afford to let go the control of the party. So that is what he will try. Whereas Sharad Pawar and Congress,
very big points which have emerged, and these again will decide the future course. Mr. Thackeray saying that do not try to appropriate the Bala Saheb legacy. Why are you latching on to the Thackeray legacy? Go ahead, exit the party, but find your own mojo. Why are you clinging to this, claiming to be Bala Saheb loyalist, and then of course, betraying me as the true sign of the Thackeray legacy. So there is a contradiction there, which the Shinde camp will have to answer, which the Eknath Shinde camp need to answer.
So they are questioning very similarly, like Rahul Gandhi, people are questioning whether he is the inheritor of the Gandhi family legacy, or even if he is the inheritor, whether he is capable of handling that legacy. So similarly, they have raised questions about the Thackeray clan, essentially because they feel that the Thackeray clan was being controlled by the NCP. And Sharad Pawar was really controlling, and that's why they say the original Shiv Sainiks got alienated. So today also, when you are showing these people here and saying they are the Sainiks, I'm sure they are the Sainiks, but the question has to be asked that how is it playing out with the Sainiks outside of Bombay? Because most MLAs who have traveled with Shinde come not from Bombay, they come from the hinterland, they come from Vidarbha, they come from northern Maharashtra, parts of Konkan, and those places. And that's where the real tussle or fight between the NCP and the Shiv Sena existed on the ground for the last so many years. And today these people are feeling threatened because...
No, I understand that. There's a very fair point. And what you raised about the Congress is also a very interesting point, because, here you see a scenario where the party leaders have turned the tables on their leader, saying that because of you, the party prospects are dwindling. We are deviating from our core ideology. Going by the results of the recent elections, the party will lose the core vote bank. Therefore, to reclaim the glory of Shiv Sena, we have to do this. And if something like that could happen in the Congress, perhaps, many would say it would benefit the party. But here is a party where the leaders are being proactive. That is another side. In fact, I would like Mr. Gokul Chandran to respond. That do you think that that's a fair point for the leaders of the Shiv Sena to say that we are doing this for the sake of Shiv Sena?
Isn't it very funny to listen to that statement? Sake of Shiv Sena, we are running away from Maharashtra, we are hiding in Gujarat, we are going to Assam, with the blessings of BJP, we are hiding in Guwahati. If you want to really fight for the Shiv Sena, if you want to reclaim Shiv Sena, stay in Maharashtra, fight and reclaim the party. You cannot run away and you cannot fight. You are just like others, you are running around to many other states and you are telling we want to reclaim the party. Is this Mr. Bal Thackeray's legacy? Mr. Bal Thackeray was never a coward. He was a brave man. Though I don't accept everything ideologically what Mr. Bal Thackeray was doing, at least he was a brave man and not a coward. But the people who are claiming to take his legacy, they are running to other states and hiding in hotels with the help of BJP. So they can never claim, if they want to really reclaim Shiv Sena, if they think that Shiv Sena is going on a wrong direction or Mr. Uddhav Thackeray is going on a wrong direction, they should stay put in Maharashtra and they should fight. There are many ways to fight the government. Go for a protest, go to the governor,
they are fighting for the survival of the party. They're saying, going by the recent trend, the party, these are men from the hinterland. As the previous speaker said, these are men who have the pulse of the people. And they are sensing trouble for the Shiv Sena. That is what Mr. Shinde is saying. And perhaps that is why he's getting so much support from within the party, who is now more in tune with Eknath Shinde's brand of Shiv Sena than Mr. Thackeray's brand of Shiv Sena. Isn't that happening in front of us right now?
Do we really think they are running away for the love of party? No, they are running for money. They are running for save themselves from cases. Even today, what has happened? The ED has issued summons to people who are with Mr. Uddhav Thackeray. And in the same case, the people who are in Guwahati are being spared. From there itself, you can see and you can understand.
So clearly, the opinion is divided. I mean, the counter argument is, well, they're doing it for the sake of the party. One ED notice will not galvanize so many of these MLAs together that they will agree to go to another location, challenge the party supremo. Is that something that you agree with, Tushar Gupta? Please respond.
See, what has happened is there has been a coup d'etat. Let's agree to that. But Uddhav Thackeray ain't no Julius Caesar. He's a Brutus. What he's being given today is a taste of his own medicine. What he did with the BJP after the elections is what is being done to him today. When the Shiv Sena was done with the elections, they gave up on the ideology. When they were in the government, they gave up on the integrity. And today, that has resulted in them fighting for their identity. Uddhav Thackeray and the Shiv Sena spokespersons can say that, oh, why are they in Surat, why are they in Guwahati? The question they should be asking is, why are these 35 odd MLAs not standing with Uddhav Thackeray? This is the question they need to ask. You cannot decide the inner workings of a party, the anger or the disagreements within a party on the streets. Clearly, something was brewing for the last 2.5 years, which came to surface during the Rajya Sabha elections, which came to surface during the MLC elections, and now we have seen a full exodus from the party. 3 emergency meetings. Sharad Pawar is meeting with Uddhav Thackeray now, and yet Uddhav Thackeray refuses to read the writing on the wall that he never had the mandate, and now he doesn't have the MLAs as well. So the point is how long he's going to linger in for, and why is he lingering this battle? What does he win out of this? Because a good leader knows when to resign. Clearly, Uddhav Thackeray doesn't.
Mr. Sundar Balakrishna also joins us. Thank you, Mr. Balakrishna, for joining us on the program. The strategy, it seems, from what we can see from the statements coming in, at least on the part of Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, is to break the breakaway faction, which is why 16 MLAs are being told that they can be disqualified. Disqualification is being sought, not the entire lot. So do you think this can be a successful strategy to try and break? Because this seems to be the only and the last-ditch effort made from the Thackeray side.
See, I think, this is a very good move according to me. Why I think why? Because, this will also work and this will also go through the legal process because, this will be done on the basis of the anti-party activities. Now, these MLAs, first they have become the party member and then they have become the MLA. So in that case, they stand for expulsion. Now, if you break the 16 members there, what will happen is these 16 members will go to BJP. Okay, they have no other choice. So when they go to BJP, BJP also will not be able to form the government with the help of the 16 members. Now, what about the rest? The question will come. Now, all these people, one day or the other, they will have to come to Mumbai. Okay, they cannot be sitting there for quite a long time unless and until BJP is supporting them in terms of the hotel stay, the money, and all those things. Whatever they are supporting them. Now they will have to come one day or the other. And another thing is, these people, 38 MLAs which they have, I am sure that all 38 MLAs when they come here, few of them will certainly change their mind. Where is the buffer? Will this 38 members who are there, will Fadnavis take the risk of joining hands with Eknath Shinde? It's a big doubtful case there. They will not do it. Okay. And lastly, what will happen is, even if the governor calls the BJP single largest party, first Uddhav Thackeray has to resign. Uddhav Thackeray has not resigned yet. Still, these MLAs are part of Sena. They cannot claim that they are separate group. Being in Sena, they cannot claim separate group. They will have to first take the election symbol first. They will have to go to the election commission. They will have to form another party. They will have to go. Are they prepared to do all these things? They will not. They cannot do it. This is my view.
No, but the fact is, yes, while you may say that there are procedural issues, there are constitutional issues, all of that will have to be worked out, and nothing which is beyond what can be allowed in the book can happen. Of course, there is a floor test that has to be faced, and of course, the governor and the speaker will come in at some stage. But at the moment, what we are seeing is strong arm tactics being used from a remote location. Sandeep Ghosh, can that happen? Can you be dangling pieces of paper from a remote location and say, look, we have 37 MLAs, consider us a separate unit, then we will come back? Can this work?
See, that is a psychological ops which is happening on both sides. These are mind games being played on both sides. What I anticipate is, today also there are reports that Mr. Shinde has been consulting some top lawyers who've flown down to Guwahati. So it'll now take a little bit of a legal recourse. A legal course rather, because staying this Guwahati business is now cannot be extended indefinitely. It'll start yielding diminishing returns. So what I anticipate is the next stage of Mr. Shinde would be to claim formation of a separate group, and that is what will become the legal test. And to preempt that, Shiv Sena has the Thackeray camp has disqualified these members. So that is what will go into a kind of a dispute now. But meanwhile, I still feel I could be in a minority of one. There would be back channel efforts between the Shinde camp and the Thackeray camp to come to some kind of a understanding or compromise. Because I repeat myself, it is in the interest of both the people to not break the Shiv Sena. Because, these Shinde camp people, if they tomorrow, they come and join BJP, they will be just simply, they'll lose their identity. So they'll have to retain their identity. And to retain the identity, it's not easy to form another party. Even, we saw what has happened with Raj Thackeray. He could not really make a very strong counterparty for the Shiv Sena. MNS has never been able to challenge it to that extent. So I think there will be some degree of, feelers, because nobody is totally on a strong wicket. Shiv Sena has got the Thackeray camp has got his weak points. The clout today is largely limited to the Bombay municipal area. They are not really, Uddhav Thackeray has been out of action, and Aditya Thackeray is really not in touch with the rest of Maharashtra as much. And they know that they have a tough challenge ahead in the BMC election. We were talking earlier of the Thane Municipality Corporation, which is totally Dighe's stronghold. All those things will come up. So there may be some kind of an understanding they try to reach. And the whole issue crux will be everywhere that you need to neutralize NCP. Because NCP, even people forget, even Balasaheb Thackeray has always treated NCP, has been very wary of NCP, because there are a number of places where you are from Maharashtra, you know NCP is referred to as the Rashtravadi. They don't even call them Congress, and Shiv Sena, they are the people who are in direct coalition. There are some 48 constituencies where they fight directly, of which about 26 the NCP won last time. And the others, where Shiv Sena has won, they are directly funding the grassroots, bypassing the MLAs. That's been the biggest script. So the next election, these MLAs think that they will not win, and then that will be far more detrimental to Shiv Sena if that base wipes out. So there are genuine existential questions as well, which nobody can rule out just by sheer bravado, is my sense. Now, whether
but when you talk of bravado, that's precisely what both sides are doing. I mean, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray has also put up a brave front today, saying, I'm not going to take this lying down. He says, dried leaves will fall off, the roots stay, which means he's saying that the party stays. And here is a bit of a clarification perhaps that everyone needs, that while you have the Shiv Sena Legislative Party, which looks like it's splitting with a splinter group of say 50 MLAs, as Mr. Shinde claims, there is still the larger party spread across the state. So do you see there is a jeopardy? This party itself is jeopardized, Mr. Gokul Chandran, that, Shiv Sena is today having to fight to retain the entity itself of Balasaheb, to retain the legacy of Balasaheb, to actually say that we are the real Shiv Sena. Mr. Thackeray has been forced to do that today.
Yeah, see, that is the exact point I wanted to make actually. See, 35 people party. So now Mr. Eknath has 35 Shiv Sainiks with him, and that doesn't make a party of lakhs and lakhs of volunteers and leaders. So what they have to, they will be having a general body, the district presidents, the various members of
But
Shiv
many
Sena.
of them, sir, are also now saying that they are with the Shinde camp. There are councillors, there are members of parliament from the Shiv Sena apparently who are also gravitating towards Mr. Shinde. So this is a real existential crisis for the Thackeray's.
See, I'm talking about the party organization. You take the party organization. The organization, mostly they are with Thackeray's. That is the beauty of it. The elected representatives, the MLAs are, the breakaway faction has moved away. The organization is with Mr. Thackeray. That is the party. So the party, what does the party mean? Organization. Not only the MLAs and MPs make a party. As long as the organization and cadres are with Mr. Thackeray, and hopefully they will stay with Mr. Thackeray and not with someone like Shinde. What the problem I see, Mr. Shinde, is not able to do any corruption. Earlier, when they were with BJP, the BJP government was completely immersed in corruption and they could make money. Now, what I feel is that Mr. Thackeray is very strict and very firm on corruption, and they are not able to make any money. That's why these people are so restless and they want to move away from Mr. Thackeray and they have to join BJP.
You wanted to come in, Mr. Sundar Balakrishna? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, see, I'll tell you, I fully agree with Mr. Gokul Chandran. See, party doesn't mean MPs and MLAs. MPs and MLAs have been elected by the people, representatives, the voters. But you tell me how often these MPs and MLAs care for the voters? They don't. They, in fact, they go for their personal benefit. They only want to make money. They want to be in power. That is the only objective. The grassroots workers are more important than these MPs and MLAs. They have to be taken into confidence. These MPs and MLAs, in fact, whatever Shiv Seniks have done today to vandalize all this office of this MLAs, I will second these people. I am telling you, because all these MLAs who have won this MLA election on the basis of the voters of this Shiv Seniks, and they have ditched the voters. And any MLA or MP who have done this, whether it be from A party or B party, if they switch another party, they should be given this kind of treatment. I'm telling you, this is what is to be done.
But legally you can't, Mr. Sundar Balakrishna. Legally they claim to
Why
have
not?
37, which is
they've done
two-thirds.
anti-party activity.
Which
They've
is
done
two-thirds
anti-party
of the
activity.
elected
Let them resign and go.
representatives. They
No,
claim
let them
that they've
resign and
managed to
go.
avert.
Why they have to do this
cannot
all this?
normalize-
Let them resign and go.
No,
Let them resign and go.
I'm saying the immediate hurdle of averting the anti-defection law has already been achieved, according to Mr. Shinde. And
I'm
now
telling you-
I think even Mr. Thackeray has conceded to that, which is why he is now moved on to the larger battle of at least holding on to the Bala Sahib legacy. Now, retaining
So let him come.
the
So why is
MVA
Eknath
government
Shinde
has
not
become a
coming to
smaller
Mumbai?
problem for Mr. Thackeray. He's
I
talking
agree.
about he's fighting for the legacy of his own father. That has become the larger battle, you think?
1 minute, I'm telling you, a person who has won 4 times elections, he cannot claim the legacy from Balasaheb Thackeray. He cannot.
But he is doing that, sir. He said it a number
is
of
wrong.
times. That
It is
we
wrong.
are the true Bala
It
Sahib
is wrong.
loyalists.
He
His
cannot say
ideology
he
of
supports.
Hindutva is being diluted and we are losing our core
His
vote bank.
ideology is to make money.
We are
His
losing our
ideology is to
support.
make money. His ideology is to make money. Let me tell you that. Point blank, BJP is supporting that. Who is funding his stay there? So many MLAs, who is funding? Is
Yes,
it
we
not
will come
BJP
to
is
the
funding
Sunday
that?
question in a bit. Yes, please come in, Mr. Sandeep Ghosh. Go ahead, sir.
See, first of all, none of the Shiv Sena MLAs need any funding. Some of them even own hotels. So those who live in Bombay or who have lived in Bombay and Maharashtra know that they are not poor people. They're not, in like some other states. So that is a secondary point. And no politician, irrespective of party, are, lily white, who don't make money. People are there and everybody is making money. So if somebody says that so-and-so is not allowing them to make money, I think that's a bit rich. But the difference is, Mr. Balakrishnan, you will speak. I'll give you to speak. Let me just take half a minute, 1 minute. You've taken a long time. I'm not supporting anybody. The first thing is, but what I don't agree is this taking violence, resorting to violence and now trying to normalize it by saying that's a good thing to do, they have every right to do. If that kind of lumpen behavior we justify, then that is very, very dangerous, not only for people like us, but people like you who live in Bombay, a city which I love, Pune, which I love, and Maharashtra. So therefore, if we unleash that sort of a violence. Secondly, you're very right, and so is Mr. Gokul, right to say that a party means the organization, and that's where the difference is. Say, Rahul Gandhi is not able to control Congress because he is totally disconnected from the grassroots. He has got no reach. And that is the kind of situation by default or otherwise Mr. Thackeray got into because of his ill health or lack of communication. And his son
caught
is far too
completely
young.
off guard. That is the most surprising part, that he did not get a whiff of this rebellion
So
brewing for all this while.
Just let me finish, Mr.
Sure.
Balachandran. I won't take more time. So only difference in Shiv Sena is, unlike a lot of family-owned parties, Shiv Sena had quote-unquote an ideology. You and I may not agree with that ideology, right or wrong. They had an ideology of the Marathi subnationalism. They had the ideology of Hindutva. And most importantly, Balasaheb let his satraps grow. He treated them like a family. So do not underestimate Eknath Shinde's and his
Let me take a quick response
connect.
from Mr. Sundar Balakrishnan and then we move on to the next topic. Go ahead, Mr. Balakrishnan.
See, I'll tell you, you just take the background of Eknath Shinde. He was a simple, common auto driver, okay? And see the empire that he has built today. Okay, see the empire. And recently, his financial advisor was interrogated by ED, Sachin Joshi. This is there in the press, okay? Now, this was in the month of March. I'm telling you, this is the one which triggered him. This is the one which triggered him to join hands with BJP. And this is what BJP does with all the opposition leaders. They threaten. And they threaten. And that is how they want to come into power. What is this? Is this democracy? Is this democracy?
It wasn't also democracy when Shiv Sena ditched BJP after fighting the elections with them and went and joined.
We all know. We all know the antecedent action. Let's not go back there now. Now here is a question of Mr. Thackeray actually trying to fight to retain Bala Sahib's legacy. He is telling his own party men, do not try to run away with the legacy of Bala Sahib Thackeray. You may choose to leave the party. So this is a serious amount of crisis. Let's make no mistake about it. For the Thackeray's, where the party members, leaders and representatives have turned the tables on the Supremo. This is an interesting sort of a political pot boiler playing in front of us. I'll have to leave it at that. Thank you, Mr. Sandeep Ghosh, Tushar Gupta, Gokul Chandran and Mr. Sundar Balakrishna for joining us in this conversation. Let's take a short break here. More news coming up. We'll have another round of conversation about whether the money power that is being unleashed is also behind this political coup. All of that coming up in just a bit. Stay with us.